$2 billion, 30,000 pounds of explosives, one single night. Iran spent decades hiding their missiles 200 feet underground in solid mountain rock, and 4 American pilots just buried them even deeper without anyone seeing a thing. This is how the US pulled off one of the wildest military ops we've seen in years. So picture this, deep in the Alborz Mountains near Tehran, Iran built an underground fortress. We're talking miles of tunnels blasted straight through solid rock, all reinforced with thick concrete. And stuffed inside all that, their entire stockpile of ballistic missiles ready to launch. Their game plan was pretty clever, actually. Keep everything buried deep underground. Then when American jets fly over, pop out and catch them off guard when they least expect it. But here's the thing that kept Pentagon planners up at night. You drop a regular bomb on this mountain, and honestly, it won't even leave a scratch. These bunkers are sitting under hundreds of feet of pure mountain rock protection. Now hold up, you're probably thinking America already owned the skies by this point, right? Why not just send in some F-15s and wrap this whole thing up? Yeah, well, that's exactly where this gets complicated real fast. Sure, Iran's main air defense was pretty much toast, but rogue S-300 batteries were still lurking around. And for any F-15 pilot out there, just one lucky radar lock from a hidden launcher means you're done. No way the Pentagon was gonna risk losing pilots and multi-million-dollar jets to some random missile battery. So when your regular fighters can't get the job done safely, what do you bring in? The B-2 Spirit, America's ultimate stealth bomber. This bird was literally designed for missions like this, going places nothing else can touch. Most aircraft have to fight through air defenses, but the B-2 just straight up pretends they don't exist. It cruises way up in the stratosphere completely invisible on radar, basically a ghost with wings. Alright, so where did this whole thing actually kick off? This part's actually wild. 4 B-2 bombers rolled out of Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri and headed east. That's a 6,000 nautical mile trip one way, straight across the Atlantic and over the Mediterranean. These beasts had to link up with tanker aircraft multiple times mid-flight just to keep their fuel topped off. But before those B-2s could even get close, somebody had to prep the battlefield first. EA-18 Growlers went in ahead of everyone else, flooding enemy radar with pure electronic chaos. At the same time, fighter jets were out hunting down every surface-to-air missile site they could find. The whole point was to completely blind Iran's defense network. And yo, it actually worked. The B-2s slipped right through that degraded airspace without a single blip on radar. Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff, the actual strike itself. Once those bombers hit their target coordinates, the internal bombed bay doors swung wide open. But they didn't just chuck one massive bomb down there and hope for the best. Not instead, they dropped dozens of precision-guided bunker busters all at once. Every single bomb was calculated to slam in at the perfect angle to collapse those reinforced concrete doors. They went after ventilation shafts, weak structural points, anything that would seal those missiles inside forever. Now let's geek out on the weapons for a sec, because this is where it gets really interesting. The main workhorse bomb was the BLU-109, a 2,000-pound concrete penetrator. But for the really deep underground stuff, they brought out the absolute monster, the GBU-57. This thing weighs 30,000 pounds. That's about 14,000 kilos of pure earth-shattering destruction. When it slams into a target, it punches through over 200 feet of reinforced concrete before it even explodes. What really gets me, though, is how clever the smaller BLU-109 actually is. When this bomb first drops from a B-2, it just falls like any regular dumb bomb would. But the real magic happens in how the ground crews set up the fuses. They can rig it with a nose fuse, a tail fuse, or both depending on what the target needs. Nose fuse gives you a massive surface explosion the instant it makes contact. But for hardened bunkers, they swap to the FMU-139 tail fuse, which delays the boom. This lets the bomb punch clean through the concrete first, before doing any damage. Once it's inside, the smart fuse counts down just a few milliseconds, then triggers the 500-pound payload. It literally tears the target apart from the inside out. And get this, each one of these bombs costs like $4 grand. The bang for your buck is honestly insane. So how does a $2 billion plane actually stay invisible while doing all this? Most aircraft have those vertical tail fins and rudders sticking up in the back, right? The B-2 has absolutely none of that. Zero vertical surfaces anywhere on the whole plane, because any vertical structure bounces radar waves straight back to whoever's looking for you. Instead, they built these split-drag rudders right into the wing edges for steering and control. But honestly, the real secret sauce is what this thing is actually made of. All the leading edges use fiberglass epoxy that scatters radar signals in every random direction. The main wing body is graphite epoxy, which is crazy lightweight but still super strong. Around the engines, where things get really hot, they switch to titanium because it can handle the extreme heat. And then there's the billion-dollar radar-absorbing paint coating that's still completely classified today. What we do know is it uses RAM, radar-absorbing material made from some crazy advanced polymers. Same stealth tech that's on the F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning, just way thicker layers of it. Now this next part might actually catch you off guard about the B-2's payload capacity. From the outside, this aircraft doesn't even look that big, honestly. But crack open those bomb bay doors, and you can stuff 80 Mark 82 bombs inside, each one at 500 pounds. That adds up to 40,000 pounds of ordnance, roughly 18,000 kilos of airborne destruction, all hidden inside something that looks like it flew straight out of a sci-fi movie. Depending on the mission profile, they can also swap in a rotary launcher system instead. That setup holds 16 AGM-158 cruise missiles, and each one of those bad boys runs about $1.5 million. Once deployed, these missiles pop their wings out and can cruise up to 230 miles to nail their target. That's 370 kilometers of standoff range, keeping the bomber way out of danger. Alright, let's pull back and look at the bigger picture of what this whole operation actually achieved. This B-2 strike was just one piece of a massive 72-hour blitz on Iran's military backbone. When all was said and done, American forces hammered roughly 200 hardened targets across the region. Underground bunkers, missile depots, command posts, you name it, they hit it. The precision on these strikes was surgical. This wasn't some World War II-style carpet bombing run. Every single bomb was GPS, guided with military satellite precision, accurate down to the meter. The guidance computer constantly talks to 4 lattice fins mounted on the back of each bomb. Those fins make real-time micro-adjustments as the weapon falls, correcting course every single second. And since there's no rocket motor, the bombs need to drop from extreme altitude to have enough time to steer. That's exactly why B-2s fly so insanely high. It's not just about stealth, it's about hitting precisely. Think about this for a second. Iran poured decades of work into building those underground hideouts. Miles of tunnels, reinforced bunkers. They were absolutely convinced nobody could touch them down there. But in just one night, 4 aircraft flying in from the other side of the planet proved them dead wrong. Those missiles they dumped billions into protecting, now they're just buried under rubble in their own mountain. The takeaway here is pretty brutal, honestly. In modern warfare, there's nowhere left to hide. When you've got a $2 billion ghost hauling 40,000 pounds of precision-guided destruction, and it can fly 6,000 miles completely undetected by any radar system on the planet, that completely flips the script on how anyone thinks about protecting their most valuable military gear. Iran found that out the hard way when Operation Epic Fury came knocking at their front door. Decades to build, one night to bury. Their crown jewel missile program is now nothing but scrap metal.